Hey everybody, this is Colton. I got a bit of a longer video for you today. I hope that it is interesting. We're going to be taking this piece right here. I'm going to be painting over it. We do a lot of live painting and explanations. We do a little bit of time lapse, and then at the very end, I spent a couple of hours fixing it up, and then I just go over the layers. So this is the before, and this is the final image. As you can see, it's still pretty rough at the end. In fact, it's rougher than the first one, but the design and the value structure and the composition is a bit better than the original. So, anyways, in the first part of the video, the audio might be a little bit weird. I had some settings wrong on my microphone, but it shouldn't be too jarring or anything. So, anyways, let's just go ahead and jump into the video. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Draw Anime Academy. I am Colton, your instructor for today. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not your instructor. You might end up hating everything I say and leaving, but maybe not. So we will see. So today I'm actually going to be drawing over this old work of mine and fixing it, or at least doing what I would do today now that I've been working for a while. And this is an old piece I made in, I don't know, maybe 2017 or something. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to really quickly make a little notes layer. I just went ahead and filled a layer with white, and I'm just going to be drawing on this really quickly to sort of express my thoughts, what I'm thinking right now. So, number one, everything's very boxy. It's very, very boring. So this is essentially a box. This guy has a major baby head. I don't know what on earth I was thinking back then. He's very stiff, but he has a baby head, so I need to fix that. And this door, boring. This, boring. This, boring. All of this is essentially very boring. The only thing that's actually a little bit interesting is this recycling bin right here. And yeah, a little bit boring, but whatever. Number two, everything in this scene, it kind of feels like stickers. Everything sort of feels like stickers, right? All these details on the wall, they don't feel like they have any depth to them. They don't feel like they pop out and have three-dimensional form. They all feel it's like stickers, or it's like very flat. And that's also something that I would want to fix. So definitely going to keep that in mind, right? There's no like border. There's a border around the door, but it doesn't feel like it has any depth to it. It's very flat. These cables, all the exact same size, very not interesting. I'm trying to think of words other than boring. Because it is boring. All these same size, vague boxes and stuff. I guess it's not that vague, but, you know, random stuff here, not very interesting. So we're going to do some major revising to the shapes and everything. Merge. Turn off. First things first, I want to cut this baby head out like this. Doesn't need to be too neat. I don't know how much work I'm going to be doing on this guy. This is not a character or an anatomy video. So, yeah. So I'm just going to take this guy. Maybe I'll rotate his arm down. I just pressed Control-Shift-C to merge copy. It merges and copies everything below. And then I'm going to make a layer below him. Choose a basic round brush, the best brush ever made. It's amazing. And I'm just gonna, oops, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this guy out. So there's that, there's this. There needs to be some major lighting reworks in this shot too. I'll do that in just a little bit. I want to kind of move fast because people on YouTube have the attention span of gnats. And I don't want to make this too long. I want to give you some good content and get you out into the world. So it's kind of crazy. I uploaded this my last or my first video on YouTube about perspective, and it just blew up. Right now it's like 108,000 views or something, and that single video has just launched our channel into, I don't know, not very many subscribers, honestly. We're at about 5,000 right now. Let me make a new layer. I'm just going to talk a tiny bit about design here. So I want to mix this vending machine up, right? Full length of the vending machine, 70-30 rule, right? 70-30. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Scoot him over. So maybe about here. Draw up, draw over, draw up. And I'm going to go ahead and give this vending machine a bit of a redesign, because right now the design is atrocious. It is literally a box. I mean, yeah, vending machines are basically boxes, but this is a sci-fi world, so we're going to make it a bit more neat. So that's already looking a little bit better, right? Just a tad. So I wanna also think about simplicity and complexity. So simple and complex is basically a design rule, which is you want areas that are simple and you want areas that are complex, right? You want a big area of rest, and then you maybe want a little area of high detail. Doesn't have to be right there, but it can be anywhere. So get that rule of design in there. Okay. I have my canvas hotkey to be able to flip it, just so I can kind of get a fresh look and get straighter lines and at certain angles and stuff. So not gonna do a crazy redesign of this vending machine. I would like to make it look a bit better. I think maybe I will bulk up this area here, maybe do something interesting to it. Do something like that. This whole piece actually needs a major rework. So I'm going to press Control, Shift, Alt, E. That's going to make a copied layer of everything. It's like a merge copy all. And I'm just going to take my... What? Where is it? Oh, I guess not. I guess I'm not going to take my curves. I'm going to take my hue saturation, and I'm just going to darken this whole thing down. Maybe I'll saturate it up a tad. I don't know. Like that. And I'll make a clipping mask just so I can kind of take this away and add it and stuff. And I'm going to start drawing in to sort of accentuate the parts that I'm more interested in focusing on, because this whole piece is kind of lit very ambiently, and I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be a little bit more personal. So I'm going to turn this vending machine into an actual light. I'm going to turn this into more of a light. This, maybe add some reflections, like that sort of thing. See how it's a bit more moody now and all that sort of thing. And I was even thinking I might add like a red light, maybe like here and here, just sci-fi it a little bit. Yeah, it might work. So I made another new layer. I'm basically just making a bunch of new layers. I'm really thinking right now. Nothing is set in stone, right? Oh, I can't stand this. Hold on. Doesn't that feel better? It's not perfect, but at least we don't have to look at it anymore. Look at that. Just a bit better. Honestly, I would literally just take a photo and replace this guy. Okay, let's merge that down. So, thinking about this design a little bit, right? Let's make some cables. So the question is, do these cables make sense going over top? And my honest opinion is I don't really think they do. These ones might make a little bit more sense, but honestly, the shape of this door is just boring. So let's make it at least a little bit better, where we can maybe do something like this, bulk it up a little bit, right? I want to maybe add some layering, add some three-dimensionality to around this door. Maybe add some material variation as well to make it a little bit more interesting, right? So just maybe imply some highlights or something like this, right? It's more of a reminder for me to do it later than actually trying to make it look good right now, right? Maybe some highlights, right? What's inside of here? Is it a room? Is it a hallway? Like the way I have it right now is kind of a hallway. Like maybe we can have that cable coming out, or like maybe we'll have like a small cable coming out and going below, and then another small one, vary the size, going through here. Color some of this out. Do some of this stuff. I mean, what this piece is really lacking is just variety in the shapes and in the materials. So, for example, I may end up going and saying, okay, maybe this vending machine is actually like green. So I could come over here, and maybe I won't make all of it green. Maybe I'll just make part of it green. But I'm thinking again of like that 70-30. So copy, merge, paste, Control U. Maybe I'll just like change the color a bit and do, what color do I want this? Red? Maybe it'll be red. Maybe I'll do that. And then I'll probably erase. Actually, the blue's kind of interesting as well. Right? Put some breakup in there, some value breakup, right? So take this value, darken it a bit. You know, maybe take this value, lighten it. I know his hand's cut off, but don't really matter right now. Right? Maybe come in here, do that, do that. So it's like, where's the buttons for this machine, and what would they look like exactly, right? So maybe I decide to put them on the side right here and make it a little bit more deliberate. So maybe come down here, put them like that. But now I'm noticing, oh wait, I just stuck them basically directly in the center. So maybe I'll take them. Maybe I won't do that. You know, maybe I'll go back and go right here, a little bit below center, take it again, copy it down. Maybe there'll be a little screen here, indented, like that sort of thing. I'm not a huge fan of how it's in the center. Maybe it'll be like, maybe the screen would be better off somewhere else, right? Break up this shape a little bit, thinking about this sort of thing, right? Breaking it up so it's not even and it's not halves. So, and another thing that I would want to do is I might actually just want to go ahead and resize some stuff. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a new layer, and I'm going to find the perspective of this shot really quick. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to take my straight line tool. I'm just going to trace some of these lines. This one's not very accurate because it's a new sketch. In fact, the whole perspective in the shot is not very accurate. I know that the horizon line's probably around here. Everything in the shot that you're looking up at is above the horizon line. Everything in the shot that you're looking down at is below the horizon line. So I know we're looking up at the roof, and I know we're looking down at the floor. And we can't see the top of this vending machine, but we can see the top of this area. I know it's tilted towards us, but this part isn't, and I can see the top of it. So I know that the horizon line is between here and here. So if I just, it might actually be around head or shoulder height. So I'm just going to say it's right about there. Right? Maybe I'll actually just go ahead and extend this canvas. I know it's ugly. Bear with me. Here's where I believe the horizon line is. And then this is going to move up. So maybe I'll go ahead and decide that I want my vanishing point right here. Right where this intersects. So I'll just take some perspective lines out of it. And then I'm just going to adjust the perspective in my shot. This is how I think about perspective. I'm not like trying to get everything exact and perfect. I know that I can always just like adjust certain things. And then the vanishing point on the right side is probably going to be pretty far that way. Like I could just put it on the edge essentially, but it's going to be pretty far away that direction. So I'm not even going to worry about that one right now. So I'm just going to lower the opacity of this and do that just to make sure. So I'll want to come in here and modify the perspective of this and everything. But first off, man, I want better lighting in here. So let me go ahead and I want some better lighting. So maybe I'll have some like tubular lights in here. It's just, it had vague, dumb lighting before. Like, I didn't even have any lights in the scene. Like, you can see, no lights. Everything's kind of vague. There's, like, this abstract light behind him that doesn't really do anything. So I'm going to reinforce that, and I'm just going to plop some legitimate lights above him. 2 of them. Maybe I'll have one over here as well or something. I could maybe have a hint of one in the foreground, but it seems like it would kind of be out of the shot anyway. So we've made that a little bit better. I kind of want to add some red or something here, just to show that, like, oh, there's cables up here, they're coming out, even though it just doesn't look that good. Maybe I'll even just get rid of the cables. I feel like maybe the cables on the floor are enough. The main thing that I think is holding this piece back is it feels not very confident. It feels like I didn't really know what I was doing. I'm afraid to commit. I'm afraid to make decisions. Maybe I'll do something like that. Yeah, I was afraid to make decisions. I didn't really know what to do. I wasn't entirely sure as far as shapes go and stuff, right? I might just blast this with a little bit of light, right? All right, I'll give him a hand. Little indication of a hand or something, right? Maybe his arm's even like, maybe he's not even holding his arm out. Maybe I'll just find like a photo or something to put in there. Right there. Right, the lighting on him is not very good. Where light doesn't really work like that. I might want to isolate out this, just blast the whole background back a bit to get it to feel a little bit further away. I don't actually really need those perspective lines. Flip it back. Now we're starting to get some of this ambience here. I know that it's a short room, but we're going to kind of play up that light, that fog a little bit, just to create some separation between the front and the back. So I don't even really feel like I need these things here in the foreground and stuff. Like, I guess we could keep them, you know, maybe but I want to probably break it up into big, medium, and small or something. Okay. Now my perspective. Maybe I'll just imply the roof. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to add an extra color. Something interesting. Just maybe something right here. And then breaking this up. I just really want to think about breaking some of these shapes up. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kind of come in here, put a panel, and I'm just going to put a big cable. Boom. Like that. You know what? I'm going to put 2 cables. One big, one small. Actually, we're going to make it 3. These 3 cables coming out, coming into this section right here. I'm going to put another thing. Yeah, right here. Like a little connector bit or something. Right? And then I'll come over here and maybe we'll give a little indication of a highlight or something for the material. Maybe a little highlight, right? I really want to show some material. That's something that the first piece was really lacking. It was lacking material. All right. I'm trying to mess with my audio. I think that's okay. I keep making it too loud. Okay. So I want some overlaps in the background as well. So I want to know where this kind of connects up back there with the floor. So maybe sort of like that. So I'm going to say the back of the wall is there, and then it comes up to about here, just to figure out the back of the room. I think there's some perspective issues in the back. And even though we don't really need to address them that much, I want to just a tad imply, so we can even have some stuff peeking out behind here. I don't want to call too much attention to it by making it too dark, but maybe like a bucket. Cylinders are really easy to draw overlapping because you don't have to find the perspective of the corners and where they go, because there are no corners. It's just ellipses, so you just have to kind of guesstimate where they are in relation to the horizon line. Okay. I'm going to add some cut lines in here as well. I don't actually like that, so I'm going to cut this into there and just make that one solid shape. Cut line. Cut line. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better now. See, I'm trying to vary this up, right? If I'm cutting in here, I'm not just going to bring it all the way up to here. I'll maybe wrap it up, bring it around, but I won't do that. I'll curve it and bring it up like that. Make it a little bit more interesting, and then, maybe put a mark like that to imply some manufacturing or something. That could be interesting. So I really want to make a lot of these videos. I'm actually planning on making a lot more. This one's sort of just a test. So, testing the waters. I could make a new layer, get some nice soft brush, and just kind of, put it above that door there. Maybe do something like that. You notice how already it's like feeling a lot better. If I go ahead and put everything that we've done so far in a layer, see how the mood just feels a lot better? the design of the vending machine is a lot more interesting. Like we could spend hours cleaning this piece up, but I just want to get it working kind of to the level where it's looking okay. Maybe I'll do a little bit more of this. Maybe I'll break this piece up. Maybe this will even come across. Heck, we'll wrap it around. Maybe I'll select this area. And even have like a reflection of the lights. These things, these like they're supposed to be cigarettes in the vending machine. That was kind of the idea. I could have a little vent up here. I want to make sure I'm not filling up the whole area because 70-30 again. Right? I could even break this out a little bit. I like kind of, when I'm designing, I like sort of painting and doing line work at the same time. I think it's actually pretty nice. That's better. I don't really like the shape of this glass part. Maybe I like let me think. What if I like did this? Could I do something like that? Would that work? Could be kind of interesting. Kind of imply the stuff inside of it. Perspective is off. Oops. What? Get out of here. I don't even know what that is. Every once in a while I'll just press the wrong key and something I don't care about ever will come up. And I will mash every key until it leaves. That could work, I guess. Not a big fan of the vending machine. I would want to spend some time thinking about it and figuring something out. But I guess for now, what kind of tube is this, right? Is it like a tube that's kind of like the crinkly kind that like, or is it like a rubber tube? What color tube is it, right? Do I add highlights to it like this? Right? What about the little ones? Are they the same thing? Are they different? Right? Do I want to add this kind of thing to it? Is it red? Is it, what color is it? What value is it? Right? Like, are the tubes different values? So, say, I could come in here and go, oh, well, one of these tubes is red, right? And one of them is yellow. See how that like automatically makes it a little bit more interesting, varying that kind of stuff? And then you could come in here and you could go, okay, the yellow one's connected. It gives you a little light. The red one's connected. It gives you a little light. Just a little bit more design stuff. A little bit more interest, potentially. Maybe I'll give a little bit of a line work. So, something like that. I don't like the floor. I really don't want this video to get too long. Maybe I'll have to time-lapse some of it. I went ahead and decided to time lapse this bit. I'll just kind of explain what I'm doing in my thought process. So I felt like the background doorway needed a bit more light value to it to push it back, experimenting with compositional changes, seeing if I want to extend the floor. I don't end up liking it that much. I think I pull it back in a little bit. Yeah, right there. Checking the previous version to this one, breaking up the silhouette of the doorway a little bit. I don't. I guess I do end up keeping that in the end. So I had this idea here to start breaking up the shape of the ceiling in order to make it look like a less kind of boring box inside of the building. I really play with that later on in the non-time-lapsed version where I just go over the layers. So I also had the idea to start adding some fog and vents, and I actually really ended up playing this idea up a lot more later on, and I'll be explaining that. So darkening the guy, testing some rim lighting. I didn't end up liking it. So adding some cables in there to kind of give some perspective and stuff, make it feel a little bit more lived in. Playing with the vending machine colors of that, I kind of liked that idea, but I'm going to end up using more of a photo texture later on. Lighting the tops of these objects to give them more form. Playing with a little bit of reflective stuff on the vending machine. So I spent another hour, maybe hour and a half on this piece after that time-lapse bit right there. And I'm just going to explain my layering decisions as I go. So, because there's a lot of changes and it took kind of a while. So added a little bit of light up there in the top, kind of like a bloom effect. I ended up playing a lot more with this steam that I was talking about earlier, kind of coming out of the vents. Now, it's not coming out of a specific area right now, but I'm more looking for the vibe at the moment. So turning these lights white again, they keep getting turned to dark, so I have to keep turning them back on. This layer right here, I just kind of squished the value range a little bit so I could push it more. I noticed it was getting really dark kind of in this area in the foreground. So, all right. Now, this is the final version, and I will turn all of these off to explain. So, push the values, did a little color dodge just to pop out that area. I drew behind this person, ended up painting them out and putting a photo texture in. This is a photo that I actually worked on quite a bit. I had to adjust a lot of stuff. I replaced his head. I put a backpack on him, various stuff like that. I don't have the layers for it, unfortunately, but that is what I did to him. Added a little bit of darkening to him to kind of just squish the values a tiny bit. Adding a doorway in the background with a pipe. I ended up painting out that table completely. I didn't really like it. Here's that photo texture for the vending machine. Just put it in there like that. This brightened it a little bit, pushed that kind of area on the very right back. I painted out those cables in the front left. I didn't really like them very much, so cleaning up that just a little bit. More steam coming out of the vent on the front left. I kind of like it because it points in towards the composition, more towards the center. Here we go. This is where I start adding quite a few details. So I am really focusing on breaking up the squarish rectangular shape of this room and starting to add like insets and pulling things out. This is actually something that the original piece lacked a bunch. And that's one of the main things that I had in mind the whole time. So just cleaning up stuff a tiny bit. This is a very rough painting still at this stage. I'm just getting everything in place. So you can see that, right? Like even these cables over here, big, medium, and small I'm adding. I'm not adding like same size stuff. I'm adding a big cable, a medium cable, and a small cable, and that just tends to work really well for these kind of things. And you notice like almost everywhere I'm making big and small cables. I'm making big and medium and small cables like that. So I'll either have 2 or 3 of them a lot of the time just to give a variety, and they're not all matching up and all that sort of thing. steam in front of him coming out of the ground, kind of blends him into the ground. Then I don't have to worry about integrating his shoes, and it actually works better mood and compositionally. So so there's that steam layer. I should turn it off a couple of times, turn it on and off a couple times. Darkening the top left, it is not important. I want it to pull us into the image and not be all that big of a deal. Then I added another big, medium, small kind of compositional element here as a foreground element right there. So I did that, and then this layer here is just a slight color adjustment. I actually think I forgot that on the whole time, but regardless, it just adds a tiny bit of green. It's called a color lookup. You can go down here to, what is it, your FX? No, this. And right here, you can click color lookup, and you can choose from these different settings. Like, I don't know, you could do moonlight, and then I could come here. I could lower the opacity of it a whole bunch, like this, and it'll just give it a little tint, right? You can even put it like 9, 8, whatever percent, and it'll just give it a tiny little tint. But I already have one, so I'm going to delete that layer. And this is actually the final image, so this I would consider very rough. The idea is there. The design is not completely resolved. There's still kind of a lot of vague areas, I would say. Right, like the staircase hasn't been defined very well. Let me just make a new layer with a red, right? So if I were to resolve this painting and actually finish it, I would figure out, how these staircases work, how this works. I would resolve a lot of these things back here, turn them into actual objects that make sense, propane tanks or whatever, maybe change some of the colors of these. I might actually just snake this back around into like there to kind of create that connection. I really do actually like the look of that better. So I'm going to paint it out and do it because it's way better. So there. What else? Let's see. I would resolve a lot of this stuff, figure out how these things are connected together. Are they bolted together? Are they, welded together? That sort of thing. Probably fix this design right here. It's looking a little bit weird. Define a lot of these kind of cables, make them, turn them into things that are more familiar, right? But yeah, overall, I just mostly clean this up. I would change a little design things here and there, but overall, I might just, clean it up mostly. Kind of add these back in as lights to make it feel a little bit better. Those ones could be lights as well. Not super strong. So anyways, that's going to be it for this tutorial / paint over. If you're actually interested in more of these like long form videos where I just spend like a couple of hours painting over something and kind of go quiet some of the time, let me know in the comments or join our Discord group and let us know, because they're actually pretty pleasant to make. We can just like record artwork that we're making and kind of have like a chill long draw session. Maybe even do live streams or something. So anyways, that will be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you did not like it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. And I will see you in the next one.